Welcome to the video, everyone. I am Justin Lesko, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu brown belt and former pro MMA fighter. Sometimes as a fan, athletes can make it difficult for you to keep on supporting them. Case in point, BJ Penn. I have been a BJ Penn fan for a long time, basically since I first got into the sport. Obviously, him hanging on to fighting way too long was very tough to watch, as were all of his troubles outside of fighting. But if you're following BJ Penn on Instagram and on social media, you know that he really wants to be governor of Hawaii. Spoiler alert, he won't be. Here are some words I never thought I'd say on this show. Let's look at BJ Penn's campaign to be governor. Before we get into what BJ's political ideals are or what his goals as a politician are, we need to look at a few things that would make him being elected difficult. First of all, it's that he's famous for being a professional mixed martial arts fighter. I'm sure that it's different in Hawaii, and BJ is a celebrity and a favorite son, as Mike Goldberg used to say, but there are still people who view fighters as some sort of moronic, adrenaline-crazed monsters with anger problems. It's a perception that is rooted in people who are ignorant to the sport and just see, oh, you beat people up in a cage for your job. I mean, I have felt it too. I have probably been overly nice to people I shouldn't have been so nice to and put up with a lot more than I'd care to just to combat this stereotype. If you're a fighter and you get upset about something, it's super easy for people to just label you as this violent person who's going to get angry and violent at the drop of a hat. This is a perception that would make it hard to be elected. You may remember back in 2012, former UFC fighter Chris Lytle ran for state senate and he had his previous career used against him. His character was attacked and questioned simply because he was an athlete in a combat sport. At one point, an opponent of his pointed to a picture of Lytle bloodied up after a fight and asked, "Is this who you want to be the next state senator?" And in BJ's case, they're going to do the same things and say the same attacks and then some. BJ's out of competition issues have been long documented. In January 2021, he was arrested for DUI. He's also been arrested multiple times for alleged assaults, and the reason he got released from the UFC was because of that video of him fighting a bouncer and getting knocked out after encouraging the guy to hit him, and then coming back and mounting that guy and pounding on him, and the UFC basically said, that's enough. In 2019, BJ's estranged partner got a restraining order against him and alleged years of verbal and sexual abuse. Even if all these allegations were wrong and he was acquitted and proven innocent, it would unfortunately still be used against him. And when you pair that with the last issue, the perception of fighters as violent maniacs, it's a pretty damning picture. Also difficult to overcome would be the fact that BJ has no qualifications to be an elected official. I know that hasn't stopped some people in the past, but in this case, BJ has never even had a job that wasn't fighting or training to fight. He went from high school to Half's gym to the UFC. He also doesn't seem to really know what the governor does or has the power to do. I wanted to grab two specific screenshots of his posts for this episode, but BJ actually deleted the two posts, and I think that was because he realized a mistake that he had made / got backlash for the posts. The first one that I wanted to grab was when BJ said something to the effect of the TSA is hampering Hawaiian tourism, and as governor he'd get rid of the TSA. And now you might be wondering to yourself, wait, isn't the TSA a federal authority? And you'd be correct, the governor of Hawaii cannot disband the TSA. Now, as you know, I try not to wade into political waters too much because I like for this show to A, not lose half its audience, because if I say anything that leans to one side, the other side of the spectrum says, fuck this guy, and stops tuning in, and B, we get enough political nonsense in all aspects of our lives, so I like for jiu-jitsu and by extension this show to be a nice break from that. But there are a few things about BJ's campaign that have been worrisome, so I'm gonna bring them up. I mentioned I wanted two screenshots. Well, the second screenshot I wanted was recently posted but quickly deleted, where he posted something essentially comparing COVID vaccines and complying with mask mandates as being complicit to slavery or the Holocaust. And whether you have been vaccinated, I have, or whether you think wearing a mask is dumb or not, I don't. then that's fine. But putting vaccines or masks at the same level as the worst stain on American history or the genocide of 6 million people seems to be in poor taste, to put it mildly. BJ posted a screenshot on December 18th of a senator urging Hawaiians to get vaccinated because there were 1,500 new cases in 2 days in Hawaii, which seemed like a good thing to recommend, but BJ's caption basically boiled down to don't comply with what this guy said, which, that doesn't seem great, urging people not to get vaccinated. One more COVID thing, BJ posted at one point a meme saying, if COVID shots are free, why isn't insulin or chemotherapy free? Which, yeah, you're making the point for universal healthcare, which I don't think you're meaning to make because that's contradictory to your right-wing politics. Posts and memes like this are, I think, a part of why BJ wants to run, but also why I don't think he'll win. He sees these posts that trigger an emotional response for him, and he has the attitude that he can fix what he perceives to be wrong, which, yeah, that's an admirable quality to have. You see something you don't like about where you live, so you want to get involved and contribute to fixing it. The problem is, memes and incorrect information seem to be his only resource. Memes are not news. Memes aren't facts. Memes are memes. I know in certain corridors of the political hallways, memes are enough to get you elected, but I'm not sure BJ can overcome the things that we have already talked about. A lack of understanding of the issues, legal and personal issues that are well documented, an easy attack for his opponents to make about his former career. These are all things that work against him. I have said it before, and I will say it again. BJ Penn is one of the best fighters to have ever fought in the world. But I prefer this BJ to this BJ. Thank you all for watching, and let me know in the comments whether you'd vote for BJ or not and why. While you're down there commenting, why not subscribe to the channel and smash that thumbs up button, preferably in that order. Thanks again for watching. I will see you all in the next episode.